They're 5-0 on the road for the first time since 2009. They're the first team to score 30-plus in their first 5 road games since 2000. That was the Rams. That was the greatest show on turf. First team to win 5 straight road games by 12 or more since the 05 Colts. I mean, and they just rolled those over you, not so you memorize it. But the point is they have been historically good on the road to start this season. Meanwhile, 49ers, 8 straight home losses. That's tied for the longest streak in the NFL. And that's a league with Houston and Detroit in it. Niners are 0-4 when they throw a pick. 3-0 when Jimmy G doesn't. Didn't matter. They had George Kittle. He got activated, 6 for a $101 and a touchdown. Because this was about what Arizona is doing on the road. You see it there. Not only they win, but they're winning big. And in these games, they are getting points. There's only one game they're favored in. Every other game getting points. They don't care. All they do is win, win, win no matter what. 205 on the money line. And the over came in quite comfortably. It was 44.5. This season, Crown Royal is supporting the local communities that service off the field at kickoffwithcrown.com. I'm Eric Casilius, Ryan Wilson, Jonathan Jones. JJ, was this Arizona's most impressive game of the year, all things considering, that they didn't have 3 marquee players, lost another offensive star in the first, and just kept rolling and were up 31-7 at one point in time? I
mean, there's no question it was impressive that, you know, yes, you're right. It was very impressive that without Kyler Murray, that without DeAndre Hopkins, that they lose Chase Edmonds, but they didn't win in impressive fashion. They didn't do anything on offense. I said, oh, hold on now. This team is just 3 deep everywhere. I mean, you look at what Colt McCoy did. This says more about the San Francisco 49ers being a completely fraudulent NFL team than it does the Arizona Cardinals put them in Super Bowl 56. When you look at Colt McCoy and the advanced statistics, he had 1 intermediate pass that traveled 10 to 19 yards in the air. He had 2 deep balls, and he only completed 1 of those. So total, he went 2 of 3 on passes that went 10 yards or more in the air. He had 3 attempts, and they won by double digits. Oof. They put up 31 points, and he didn't have to air the ball out whatsoever. They were able to run all over them. It was yards after the catch. I think what the San Francisco 49ers need to do, D'Amico Ryans, the defensive coordinator, Kyle Shanahan, of course, the head coach, is use one of those padded practices this week and let those guys get out there in pads. I know they're a little banged up, but clearly they don't know how to tackle, because we just saw it there with James Conner being able to run right through whatever he wanted to. They didn't tackle at all, and whenever they get the film, they're probably going to see somewhere close to 15 to 20 missed tackles on the game today. So yes, congratulations to the Arizona Cardinals. It's hard to win in the NFL. It's really hard to win when your MVP shortlist candidate at quarterback is not playing in that game. Your all-pro wide receiver is not playing in the game. One of your top running backs is not playing in the game. No question about it. And by the way, J.J. Watt just went on IR not that long ago. All those things said, this says way more to me about the San Francisco 49ers and about how I am crossing them out of my... If we run an in the hunt graphic and the San Francisco 49ers are in it just because they're mathematically not eliminated, I promise you I will leave. I promise you I will leave.
Do you get to second that emotion, to quote an old song there? That this is, yeah, great. Arizona, great job. You won with a bunch of guys out. You're 7-1. You keep doing it on the road. We give you your flowers. Okay, done. Next, new paragraph. The bigger story here is, what is going on with the 49ers? Are you signing there?
Yeah, although I would like to see that graphic just to see JJ get out of here for a little bit. But maybe. We'll see. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. But I think JJ is right, truthfully, because the 49ers, and look, I've been off the 49ers for weeks now, and I just don't get it. I think Kyle Shanahan is a great coordinator, but sometimes the Peter principle comes into effect, and this is an example of that, where you get elevated to a job that maybe you're not qualified for. Great X's and O's. I'm not sure he's great at personnel. And look, you have a 13-win season, and sandwiched around that are a lot of 6-win seasons. So I think that the proof is in the pudding, as they say. And you can say, well, these guys are injured. I would point you to the Packers previous Thursday night, where they won with Aaron Rodgers and no one else. I would point you to the team they played today, the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, you can't use it. You're exactly the point. You can't use injury today as an excuse when the team that just walked into your barn and kicked your butts was a 5.5-point dog because they didn't have their quarterback, who was one of the MVP candidates. They didn't have their best receiver. They didn't have their best defensive player. And then they lost their starting running back. They didn't have their other wide receiver, who might be going to the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's at the end of his career, but I get it, in A.J. Green. I mean, their whole team was out, and they walloped you. So San Francisco, you can't be using injury as a problem. J.J. said, look, I get it. You're going to look at Jimmy Garoppolo, but they're not tackling well. This is supposed to be a defensive team. Defense was great when the year they got to the Super Bowl. This team just doesn't tackle anymore. What's wrong in San Francisco?
Well, to reiterate your point, no one's tackling anyone around the NFL. So if that's the case, you turn to the offense, and the offense just hasn't been clicking. And look, this isn't all Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not a huge Jimmy Garoppolo supporter. He had an interception towards the end there that wasn't great, but they were trying to come back. Prior to that, George Kittle fumbled. Prior to that, Brandon Ayuk fumbled, and that gave the ball back to the Cardinals, and they kept scoring points. I don't know what the easy fix is. Maybe padded practices, as JJ notes, is one way to get things jump-started, but I think they're in a really tough division. They have a lot of work to do. It's not going to be solved by a padded practice or two. There are a lot of holes. I don't know what the answer is. Look, Kyle Shanahan isn't going anywhere, but I don't know what the solution is, and I don't know if we see Trey Lance sooner rather than later. And when we do see him, does that magically change things? I'm guessing not. So to answer your question, UK, I don't know what the answer is or how you fix it. And if they're in the AFC South, that's one thing. Unfortunately for them, they're in the NFC West.
All right, San Francisco's 3-5. Seattle's 3-5 in that division. Arizona's a one-loss team. Coming in the Sunday Night Football, the Rams are a one-loss team. Better chance, Arizona wins the division or San Francisco finishes last?
I'm going to go with San Francisco finishes last. My only concern with the Cardinals, and maybe it doesn't matter, is Kyler Murray's health. And we talk about this, I feel like, every week. But I feel like the Rams could hit their stride. I don't know how the 49ers are going to hit their stride, how they're going to get better, how they're magically going to solve all these problems that have plagued them for 10 weeks now.
I know you and I both agree. I mean, San Francisco's finishing last in this division.
When you look, they're getting Russell Wilson back in Seattle, and they actually stayed afloat without him. You know, you wanted to win another game, but they were close with Geno Smith. No question about it.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.